1, 2, 3, 4.
Wanna hear you go.
Hello, and welcome back to the AI Cafe Conversations, your favorite podcast. This is Sahar and Rad, your AI Whisperer. This is episode 4 of season 3 and the finale of phase 1, which is the foundation. So, over the past 3 episodes, we have talked about why leaders freeze under AI disruption, what chaos emerges when that freeze persists, and how to move from scattered pilots to strategic clarity. Today, we are defining what all of this has been building toward. And that's what is human-centered AI leadership. Human-centered is like my favorite expression of 2026, okay? This is my true north. This is where I keep my eye on the ball. Human-centered. AI suggests, human decide. And I need to be direct with you. This is not what most people think it is. When executives near human-centered AI leadership, they think, oh, be empathetic while implementing AI. Remember to consider the people side, or don't forget about culture. And they go right back to focusing on tools, vendors, and development timelines. That's not human-centered AI leadership. That's human as afterthought AI leadership. Real human-centered AI leadership starts with neuroscience. It's built on regulation, and it creates cultures where humans don't just survive AI transformation, but they thrive through it. So today I'm going to define what this actually means or looks. Not the LinkedIn post version, not the consultant DEG version that your AI consultant wants you to think and do so you can hire them, but the real version, the version that works. Let's go. Okay, so what human-centered AI is not? So we're gonna start by clearing away the misconceptions. Because when I talk to executives about human-centered AI leadership, I hear a lot of surface level interpretation that sounds good and missed the point entirely. And I hear all these fuzzy words and almost like a kumbaya thing, and that's not what it is. That's why they missed the point, okay? So, misconception number 1, human-centered AI equals add empathy to your AI strategy. And they don't even know what empathy is, okay? They don't define it the right way. They mix compassion and empathy and sympathy and whatever empathy pathy you have at the end, okay? So I see this everywhere. Leaders say, we need to be more empathetic during AI transformation. Great, how does that look like, right? Let's make sure we communicate with kindness. Okay. Don't forget to consider how people feel about AI. And look, empathy is very important. Don't get me wrong. Communication matters. I'm not saying it doesn't. But empathy without structure is just appeasing. It's just nice words. You can be the most empathetic leader in the world, but if you haven't built psychological safety, if you haven't created governance frameworks, if you haven't addressed the neuroscience of how brains respond to uncertainty, your empathy doesn't change the outcome. Your empathy is just a word in void. And we need to stop doing that. We need to just say whatever we think people want to hear. We need to take action, execution, not just words, not just talk in vacuum. Employees will still hide their AI usage. Innovation will still happen in shadows. Trust will still erode. So no. And I'm very passionate about this, okay? Human-centered AI is not be nice while implementing technology. Misconception number 2. Human-centered AI equals don't automate jobs. The other extreme I hear is we are human-centered, so we won't use AI to replace people. Or we are only using AI to augment, never replace. And that sounds noble, really, it does. But it's also not realistic. According to research from Stanford University and ADP, there is already been a 16% decrease in entry-level jobs most exposed to AI automation. According to IMD Business School research published in December 2025, traditional middle management is expected to compress 10 to 20% by the end of 2026. This is not a choice you get to make. The market is making it for you. So human-centered AI leadership isn't about preventing automation. It's about navigating automation in a way that doesn't break your culture while it's happening. It's about preparing people for different roles, not pretending roles won't change. AI is not going to take people's jobs. It's people with AI skills, people that expand their job description or functions that will be there. The world is changing. We are not at a point where we can stop it anymore. So we need to move with it. Where I come from, we say, when a tall palm gets subject to strong winds, it bends for a bit to get back to normal when it's safe or when things come back to normal. Okay? It's about preparing people for different roles, not pretending roles won't change. Misconception number 3, human-centered AI equals tools plus training. And here's the most common one. We are doing human-centered AI. We bought everyone access to ChatGPT and we are running training sessions. Okay, but tools plus training does not equal transformation. According to BCG research cited in Forbes Communication Council's December of 2025 article, AI transformation follows a 10-20-70 principle. 10% of the work is technology selection, 20% is tool development, 70% is people, processes, and culture. 70%. Let that sink in. So if you are spending 90% of your effort on the first 2 and calling it human-centered, you are optimizing the wrong thing. Human-centered AI isn't about what tools you deploy. It's about how humans experience the deployment. It's about whether your culture supports learning, experimentation, and honest feedback, or whether people are afraid to admit when AI makes mistakes, when they don't understand how to use it, or when they are using unauthorized tools because approved ones don't work. So let me tell you what human-centered AI leadership actually is. All right, so if human-centered AI leadership isn't empathy without structure, isn't preventing automation, or isn't just tools plus training, what is it? Here is my definition. Human-centered AI leadership is using neuroscience to build regulated cultures where humans and AI both perform at their highest capacity without breaking people in the process. Let me break that down piece by piece. Part 1, using neuroscience. Why neuroscience? Because your brain's response to AI disruption is not optional, it's biological. When executives introduce AI without clear strategies, employees' brain registered as a threat. The amygdala, our survival system, activates. Cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes. The prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that handles problem solving and analytical thinking, strategic thinking, collaboration, and innovation, shuts down. This is why you get shadow AI. This is why people hide their AI usage. This is why innovation happens in silos. Not because employees are rebellious, but because their brains are trying to reduce threat. So human-centered AI leadership requires understanding. 1, what happens in the brain when you introduce uncertainty? 2, how to create psychological safety so the threat response subsides. 3, why regulation, the nervous system regulation, is the foundation for good decision making. 4, how to design change management that works with brain biology, not against it. This is why I focus on neuroscience, not because it's interesting, though it is for me, but because it's the mechanism underneath everything that's breaking. Part two, build regulated cultures. What does regulated mean? In neuroscience, regulation means your nervous system can handle stress without becoming overwhelmed or dysregulated. A regulated leader is someone who can sit in uncertainty without reacting impulsively, who can make decisions under pressure without defaulting to threat-based thinking, who can hold space for difficult conversations without shutting down or lashing out. And regulated cultures are cultures where people can admit mistakes without punishment. Innovation is encouraged, not just tolerated. Psychological safety exists not just as a buzzword, but as a lived experience. Conflict is navigated constructively. Uncertainty is normalized, not treated as a failure. This is the opposite of move fast and break things. That Silicon Valley mantra sounds exciting, but what it actually breaks is people. You move fast, you skip the foundation building, you create chaos, and then you wonder why your transformation is failing. According to World Economic Forum research, only 21% of employees globally describe themselves as engaged. 62% are not engaged. 17% are actively disengaged. It's very close to the Gallup research that was done in 2010 and still maintained the same till now. That's a regulation crisis. And you can't solve it by deploying more AI tools. You solve it by building cultures where people's nervous systems feel safe enough to engage. Part number 3, where humans and AI both perform at their highest capacity. This is the both and that most leaders miss. It's not human or AI, it's human and AI. The goal isn't to make AI as human-like as possible. The goal is to create conditions where AI handles what's good at, like pattern recognition, data analysis, speed, scale. Humans handle what they are good at, judgment, contacts, creativity, relationships. According to research from IMD Business School, the future belongs to T-shaped leaders, people with deep functional expertise plus cross-functional capability. Leaders who can connect AI insights with human judgment, data with context, automation with empathy. Not I-shaped experts who go deep in one area and ignore everything else. T-shaped leaders who can orchestrate hybrid human AI teams. Part number 4, without breaking people in the process, and this is where most transformations fail. You can optimize for speed, you can optimize for efficiency, you can optimize even for ROI. But if you break your people while doing it, if you create burnout, if you erode trust, if you fracture culture, you won't have anyone left to execute the transformation. According to research from the World Economic Forum, improving workplace well-being could add $11.7 trillion to the global economy. That's not a nice to have, that's a strategic imperative. So human-centered AI leadership asks, how do we transform without breaking people? How do we move fast enough to stay competitive without moving so fast we create chaos? How do we build AI capabilities while maintaining human capabilities? And the answer is patience. Not the let's wait and see kind of patience, but the let's build the right foundation kind of patience. According to Fast Company Executive Board research, most agentic AI solutions need 6 to 9 months to become generally effective. But most executives want results in 90 days. The gap between realistic timelines and unrealistic expectations is where cultures break. So human-centered AI leadership says, we are going to move with discipline, not speed. We are going to build sustainability, not reactively. And that's the contrarian position that actually wins. So how does this or what this look like in practice, right? You can say, oh, you're just talking theory, but let me share with you how it looks in practice. So that's the philosophy, but what does it actually look like? Let me give you 3 concrete examples of what human-centered AI leadership does differently. Example 1, communication strategy. Traditional AI leadership says, we are implementing AI, here is the tool, here's the training. Any questions? Human-centered AI leadership says, here is what's changing. Here is why it matters to you specifically. Here is what support you will have. Here is where you can experiment safely. And here is who to talk to when things don't work. According to Anshuman Dutta's research for Forbes Communication Council, AI transformation requires different communication for different audiences. Change Management 101. Board, market opportunities and strategic investment, because this is what the board cares about. To the executives, cross-functional accountability demonstrated ROI. Middle managers, practical guidance for hybrid teams. Employees, augmentation, not replacement. Skill development path, not one message, but tailored messages. And not just at launch, but continuously. Research shows organizations should think in quarterly communication campaigns. Quarter number 1, signal the shift, pilots, production. Quarter number 2, prepare for agentic AI, normalize the learning curve. Quarter number 3, focus on human dimensions like skills and development. Quarter number 4, demonstrate accountability, show ROI with honesty. That's human-centered communication. Example number 2, governance framework. Traditional AI leadership says, no AI tools without IT approval. Submit a request and wait 6 weeks for review. Human-centered AI leadership says, here are approved tools you can use immediately. Here are the guardrails, what's encouraged versus off limits. Here is how to request something new. Simple process, 48 hours turnaround. And here is a channel to share what you're learning. Remember what we talked about in episode 3, guardrails, not gates? Guardrails enable speed with safety. And according to the research on shadow AI, when you create clear boundaries instead of bureaucratic blockades, innovation happens visibly instead of in shadows. Example number 3, role evolution. Traditional AI leadership says AI will handle these tasks. Figure out what to do with the people. Human-centered AI leadership says these roles are evolving from execution to orchestration. Here is the T-shaped skill development path. Here is how we are supporting the transition. Here is how your value increases, not decreases. This is the player-coach model that IMD research describes. Middle managers move from managing task execution to orchestrating hybrid human AI workflows, controlling information to enabling innovation, deep functional expertise and depth to depth plus cross-functional integration. And you don't just announce that, you build it through training, through mentorship and reverse mentorship, through psychological safety that makes it okay to not know everything immediately. According to the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report of 2025, 39% of core skills required in the labor market will change by 2030. The top 10 competencies include 1. Analytical thinking. 2. Resilience, flexibility, and agility. 3. Leadership and social influence. 4. Creative thinking. 5. Motivation and self-awareness. 6. Technological literacy. 7. Empathy and active listening. 8. Curiosity and lifelong learning. 9. Talent management. 10. Service orientation. Notice what's not on that list. Speed at all cost. Individual heroics. Ignoring human impact. The future belongs to leaders who can integrate AI fluency with deeply human competencies. That's what human-centered AI leadership is, and that's how it develops. So let's bring this home. Human-centered AI leadership is not empathy without structure, is not preventing automation, is not just tools plus training. But human-centered AI leadership is using neuroscience to understand how brains respond to disruption, building regulated cultures where psychological safety exists, creating conditions where humans and AI both perform at high capacity, transforming without breaking people. It looks like tailored communication strategies, guardrails that enable innovation, role evolution supported by development, not just announced. But it requires patience, not the wait and see kind, but the build the right foundation kind. Because according to Accenture research, 77% of executives say trust is the foundation for AI transformation to work. And you can't build trust quickly. You build it consistently. This completes phase 1, the foundation, for season 3. We have covered why leaders freeze, what chaos emerges, how to create clarity, and what human-centered AI leadership actually means. Next week, we move to phase 2, the obstacles. Why do most AI transformations fail, and what do you do instead? If your AI transformation feels chaotic, reactive, or stuck, if you're wondering, are we doing this right? Let's talk. Book a consultation. Go to calendly.com/Sahar and Radi. I'm going to put also the link to my calendar in the description of this podcast. Take the Shadow AI assessment to find out which zone your organization is in. I'm going to put the link in the description as well, because you can't build human-centered AI leadership until you know where you are starting from. Before I wrap it up, show me some love. Like, subscribe, save, share it with someone that needs to hear this. Let's bring our subscription number high. I'm depending on you. If you want to get hold of me, email me at sahar@saharconsulting.com, LinkedIn, Sahar and Radi, Instagram, Sahar the Reinvent Coach. I am Sahar and Radi, your AI whisperer. This is AI Cafe Conversation. See you next Friday. Until then, peace out.
1,